Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Welcome to everyone to the second episode of Holy Dhams of this Kartik 2021. Last week we covered the first episode that was about Mathura Dham, the appearance place of Lord Krishna. And this week we moved to the Vrindavan. As Vrindavan has so many holy places to cover, we will go part by part, covering only some of the very significant places. Vrindavan and Navadvip Parikramas are the most wonderful things to do in our life, especially when they are done with many devotees, all chanting and singing all the way during the parikrama, and then hearing from the sadhus explaining about the pastimes behind the holy dhams. And no worry for prasadam. Loads of prasadams without any need for cooking at all arranged by our Gurudevs. Mata, of course, if you really go through them. And also on the parikrama path, so many devotees, they distribute prasadam. Every temple they will be giving prasadam so much. So parikrama is so enjoyable, total carefree, without even a single trace of worry. We will feel the glimpse of the spiritual realm. Our series is about holy dhams. But what is the meaning of dham? Dham has three meanings. First meaning is deha. It's a body. So Vrindavan is Krishna's body. And Yamuna is like his Shushmanadi. You know, in the Gautamiya Tantra, it is specifically written like this. The second meaning of dham is twit. Twit means effulgence. Brahma Samhita says that Vrindavan is Sachidananda Jyoti. Sahasra Patra Kamalam Gokulakyam Mahatpadam Tat Karnikaram Tat Dhama Tat Anandam Sa Sambhavam. So just as Sri Krishna is Sachidananda, his abode is also Sachidananda. And the third meaning is Vas. Vas means the residence of Krishna. Bhagavad Sandarbha by Jiva Goswami path, like you can actually clearly see all the details. So the dhams of Krishna are actually the base or the adar, the adaram, or support for his pastimes. Pastime means leelas. All the wonderful, amazing activities of Krishna, they are all called pastimes or leelas. And before Krishna descends to this material world, his Yogamaya potency manifests the dhams for him. So, we may visit so many, now here is the thing, we may visit so many holy places and walk there, touch there, hear, see them all by our eyes. But our eyes and our body, they are all made of flesh, made of material things. But a dham is not a material place. It is a spiritual place. Krishna does not deal with material things. Why? Because he is spiritual. So this is very important to understand. So just because we visit a holy place does not mean that we have actually seen the real holy dham behind. However, by visiting, we may carry a lot of impressions, good feelings, and nice vibrations, and surely get Sukriti. What is Sukriti? Sukriti means Punya. That we will get, so that eventually we will get Krishna Bhakti. If we really want to see the real holy dham, it will be immensely helpful if we know about the dham before visiting. That will greatly help in seeing the spiritual dham. Also, we need to have a spiritual vision. But how can we really get the spiritual vision? A sadhu can give that spiritual vision. He will explain its spiritual dimension and its spiritual nature. But on the other hand, if we visit the dham alone by ourselves like a tourist, there is no real value at all. We take some pictures and videos here and there and return. That visit surely bestows Sukriti, but not anything very great. So, before we visit a holy dham, we need two things. What are they? First, hear about the holy place and all the leelas, pastimes that happen at the holy dham. It's very important to hear about the pastime before you visit. The second, go with a sadhu, a Vaishnava. And especially Parikrama time, you will have so many Vaishnavas and my devotees coming, doing Parikrama with you. So that is auspicious time. So then the sadhus will explain the details. Alright. So now, if we see, Bhagavan Sri Krishna is performing so many leelas all the times, throughout the entire universes. And of course, always in his spiritual abode, Goloka Vrindavan. And there are so many planets, spiritual planets and also material planets, they are all there. He is always performing his leela somewhere. What kind of leelas and how many is he performing? His leelas are unlimited. That even Lord Ananda Shesha, with his innumerable heads and mouths, is not able to narrate the pastimes of Krishna. While the pastimes are going on all the times in his abode, on the material worlds, they are seen only at certain times. There are two kinds of manifestations of his pastimes. Okay? So this we have to understand before we really get in. One is called Aprakat Leela. Aprakat Leela means it's always going on, eternally always going on. But it is not visible to us. The second is Prakat Leela. Prakat Leela means temporarily visible by ourselves in the material worlds. So actually the Prakata Leela, that is temporarily, we are seeing, is just like opening a curtain behind which the Aprakat Leela is always going on. Okay, so there are two things. Aprakata means it is always going on, and Prakata means only temporarily visible for us through our eyes. Okay. So, one of the Prakata Leelas has just happened 5,000 years ago. When Lord Krishna, Radharani, Gopas and Gopis, they all manifested their Prakata Leelas, right? We read all the things in Srimad Bhagavatam. And also in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna, he says that he comes to this world to do Prakat Leela, that is visible by us, only once in the day of Brahma. A day of Brahma is 4.32 billion years, daytime. And similarly, there's a night, that's also 4.32 billion years. So, it is very rare to see. So that is the Prakata Leela. But Aprakata Leela is always going on, and all the pure devotees are able to see it all the time. All the time. Okay, so this is why if we see many of our acharyas, they eventually after preaching, they really get into the mood of this eternally mingling in the Aprakata Leela. Okay, so now Krishna is always there in his holy dhams. So his leelas are also always happening in Vrindavan. And other holy dhams are, so many holy dhams he has. And it is all aprakat. Okay, we cannot see. Okay, however, only once in a day of Brahma, as I mentioned, he gives us. It is like a drama going on forever, and just for a short time, the curtain is open, and we are able to see what is going on. That is Prakat Leela. Okay, this is very important to understand. So today, I would like to mention about one of the Aprakat Leelas in Vrindavan, in a very sacred place called Nidhuvan. Okay, so we are going to visit. First visit is our Nidhuvan. So Nidhu means amorous pastimes. It's a Leela because it's a beautiful, wonderful Leela. That's what Nidhu means. Vana means forest. In the Govinda Leelamrita book, if you really see about Ashtakaliya Leela, that includes, actually there are 8 primary activities of Lord Krishna that is happening all the time and manifested in the hearts of pure devotees all the time. If that include Sayana Leela, that is Radha Krishna sleeping at night. Then the Rasa Leela, which really follows in the night, right? Before they really get the real sleep. And then Nishanda Leela. Okay, so Nishanda Leela is waking Radha Krishna deities in the morning. Okay, so let us see in Gokul, Mother Yashoda puts Krishna to sleep in his room. But what does Krishna do? He pretends that he is going to be sleeping. So he really pretends that, Yashoda thinks, yeah, okay, now my son is sleeping. But in the night, without anyone knowing, Krishna goes to the Vrindavan forest. Where does he go? He goes to the Kunjas, where his dear Radharani and all gopis are waiting. Kunja means small cottage. As you see on this picture on the right side, that is typically a kind of a kunja. It's a small cottage, but all made with all the the vines and flowers and leaves and so many wonderful things. And it is really very, very special. Very, very special. All right. So now, he goes to Vrindavan forest, and there they take their original Yauvana forms. This original that forms that they have in Golok Vrindavan, they manifest there. Radharani is actually a manifestation of Krishna himself. He is Haladini Sakti, and all the gopis are the expansions of Radharani. So Krishna and everyone becomes happy when they are together. So like we are all Jivatmas, we also came from Krishna, and we are all part and parcel of Krishna, and like gopis enjoy when we eventually join Krishna, and we will be blissful. So that is our nature. Our nature is to be happy with Krishna. So Krishna enters into so many kunjas, as I mentioned, so many forests. There he performs Rasa Leela, dancing with the gopis. And then he sleeps there for the night. Where? In the kunja. While Mother Yashoda, or you will be thinking that Krishna is sleeping in your home after you really put your deities to sleep. But he is in the kunja forest. Then in the early morning, 4 a.m., what happens in the kunja? So seeing the dawn approaching, Brinda Devi becomes alarmed and orders the male and female parrots and peacocks and cuckoos and bumblebees and so on to make their sweet sounds. And their sound singing will wake up Radha and Krishna. This is Nishanda Leela. Nishanda Leela, this is what the pastime is. So when we have deity at home, we put them to sleep, and what happens? Krishna is not there. He is going to go join in the Rasa dance. And then at 5 a.m., what happens now? We really do Mangala Arati. We wake them up. The same way as he was actually getting woken up by Brinda Devi and all the things around. So that is why we at the Mangala, Brahma Muhurta at the time, we sing. What do we sing? Mangala Sri Guru Gaura, Mangala Murati, Mangala Sri Radha Krishna, Yugala Piriti, Mangala Nisando Lila. So look at that. Mangala Nishanto Lilo, Mangala Udaye, Mangala Arati Jage, Bhagata Hridaye. In the Hridaya, the hearts of the dear Bhaktas, they are all manifest. This Nishanda Leela, that is how you have to think of when we are doing Mangalarati. Okay? And Krishna and Radharani, they woke up. And now you are really singing along with these bumblebees and parrots and peacocks and cuckoos. Like they are singing, we are also singing to wake them up. Okay? And you really take the Arati flame near their face. And you see, okay, have you got a good sleep, etc. Like that. That is how, yes, pure devotee will be thinking in his Hridaya. Jage Bhakata Hridaya. So a Krishna devotee will think about waking like this in the forest. Then Krishna, Radhika, gopis and all go back to their homes. Okay, now getting back to Kunja, what happens? So 4 a.m. they will get up, and then that is how they all do the arati, and now they are coming back. Krishna is coming back to where? Nanda Baba and Yashoda, right? And the Radharani is going back to her home. And then they take some more rest there. And then the remaining Leelas, pastime happens as in the Ashtakali Leela. Though this is the eternal aprakata pastime happening all the time. And in this Nidhuvan, which we are going to talk about, the same pastime is happening more vibrantly. That is what is really amazing. In this picture, you see the small leftover kind of forest at the left side. Okay, these are all these 4 things are in Nidhuvan. It is full of special the basil trees shown at the rightmost side of the picture that we cannot find anywhere outside Vrindavan. Nowhere. This is unique trees. It's not actually trees. It doesn't really grow tall. And the beauty of that is these trees, the branches and leaves, they will never grow upwards. They will grow towards bottom, as if they are giving some their pranams to Radha and Krishna. Okay, so there is an entrance into Nidhuvan, and we can see a special rasa dance place also when we enter, and that is where Krishna, gopis and Radha, they're all dance in the night. Okay, and there is also a temple is called Rangmal. Okay, Rangmahal. We are going to see that also. So this is a 2018 trip to Vrindavan that we made, and the visit to the same Nidhuvan that we really did. I don't know, some of you who have really participated in that may recollect what I am really talking about here. So it was actually amazing on what we did. But there are few special things about these basil trees. They all grow only with pairs or 2 or more together. So not even a single this kind of tree that you can see a single. It's not possible. Their branches are intermingled with other trees, 1 or more. They also do not grow tall, as I mentioned, as if they are giving pranams to Radha and Krishna. They are there. The leaves are so dense that the road cannot be even found easily. But nowadays, of course, more and more are getting cleared. These basil trees are actually, who are they? They are actually gopis, standing like trees, only in the daytime. So we can see everyone giving kungum to these holy trees. They buy kungum and then they really smear on the trees because they are all gopis. And at the night, they take the forms of gopis during Radha Krishna Rasalila. They will come, again come back when the morning comes. That's the 4 a.m. I was talking about. They all turn back into the same basil trees. They come back to the original form. Right? And this is where every time we go to Vrindavan, Nidhuvan, we take the mud, the holy mud under these trees, and that's what we will bring to home. Very powerful. Very powerful. Okay? Every time we go, we just bring some holy, mud that really comes from here. We take. So in this Nidhuvan, every night, Radha and Krishna and gopis perform rasa dance. All the houses nearby have their windows closely shielded and shut during the night. Very important note. If you see this place, all around there are homes. All the homes you see that their windows are permanently sealed so that they cannot really look into this place. I will tell you why. Okay? Although so many animals are inside this place, they are all over. Monkeys are everywhere. Monkeys and creeps, these and everything. So many are there. But then, when the last bell at 7 p.m. or something like that in the temple called this, Rangmahal temple is really wrong. It's really loud. Loudly it's really wrong. When that happens, all the monkeys, even insects, they all crawl out of that area. The doors of the temples, the temple of Nidhuvan will be closed and everyone has to vacate. And this is why I said, once that bell is rung, and all the houses, even if they really have something, windows open, they will make sure it is shut. And throughout the night, they will make sure none of them look towards this place. Okay? So once that closes, even the temple priest cannot enter back. And there are 3 locks to this place. And every priest has one lock and a key. Okay? So now here is something. In case if anyone stays there during the night, even now, yes, it's going on. In the morning, that person will be either found dead or become mad, and he cannot even speak anything. He cannot say anything about what he saw. Most of the time, they're all dead. Just imagine that you happen to be there, and in front of your eyes, all these basil trees and all the things, everything around changes completely. You are really seeing a spiritual dimension, and these trees are really coming and manifesting as beautiful gopis. And they come and then started to dance with, and Krishna, Radharani, everybody is coming there. What will happen to the person? Nobody knows what happens. Actually, over several years, some people tried just out of curiosity. And what happened? Most of the time they will be dead, found dead or mad. They can't talk anything afterwards. They gone crazy. They could not tell, not even a single incident that they could really tell anything. If they survived. Yes, it is happening even today. Do you want to go and stay there at the night and see for yourself? What is the mystery behind? When you visit Nidhuvan during the daytime, you can see the Rangmal temple. Of course, you can go. You can also sponsor for garlands and bangles and so many things you can do. You can give. For whom? For the gopis and Radharani and Krishna. So you can sponsor for the night pastime. Every night, every day you can, this goes on. So during the daytime, the pujaris make so many preparations for the rasa dance, for the night. They put betel leaves pan, they make wonderful betel leaves. They keep so many of them. Garlands, scented drinks, fruits, and bangles for them to wear, saris to wear, and jewelries, a bed made with flowers like what you see on the left side. This is for Radha Rani and Krishna. There is all the two the slippers there too, and so on. They really make it every day. You can go and see. But before going out in the evening, the priests lock the temple. There are 3 priests with their own separate locks and keys. But in the night, what happens? Everything changes. All the basil trees turn into gopis. Sri Radha and Krishna and Gopi, they all perform rasa dance there. And then it goes on and goes on and goes on. And then they take rest inside the temple every night and use all the things, whatever that I mentioned. Whatever that we really put in the temple, bangles and saris and the garlands and for them scented drinks and everything, fruits, they are all used up. So next day, when the priests come at 5, after 5 a.m. or something, they really come here. And when they come here, what do they see? Of course, there are three priests. They have to use their own 3 logs. So when they come in, they will see that each item is seen as used. Things are turned upside down and so on. The cloth would be all worn and left there. Even carefully arranged drinks are not found to be same as before. Everything will be seen thoroughly used. But nothing will be missing. Only used. Was anyone at all living inside Nidhuvan during the night? Of course, as I said, if anyone else goes there, they are all dead. But was there anyone living there? Yes. There was one saint called Swami Haridas. I used to talk about him in our Harikatha. Yes, Swami Haridas was staying there. How come he was surviving where everyone else dies? Because Swami Haridas is none other than Lalita Devi. Lalita Devi is the primary gopi of Radharani. So in the night, what happens then? It is believed that he takes his spiritual form and by joining the rasa dance. So this is inside the Samadhi Mandir of Swami Sri Haridas, who is none other than Lalita Devi. When you go in the daytime, you can actually see all these. Wonderful. This was actually 2013 trip. And we happened to associate closely with the family. That you might have seen, there was a boy. So that boy was very, very special. So this family was actually with us for several days with us. And then every place we go, we actually, we are going with them. And it was amazing. Then, by that time, when we finished all the trips and then when we left, we felt so sad to really miss them. I believe they are from North India, but specific place I just forgot. They are from North India. So good. You will see this kind of devotees association. Once, Sri Radha Krishna themselves gave a deity of Krishna to Swami Haridas. Anyway, if you see the story and the history, that you will know it. This deity given by Radha and Krishna themselves to Swami Haridas was then installed in a nearby temple. What you are seeing here is that same deity that was given to Swami Haridas by Srimati, one of the nights that past time that I was describing. This is the Bange Bihari temple. Bange Bihari means one who wanders on the banks of Yamuna. This is the most well-known temple in Vrindavan. Bange Bihari is also attracted by rich and businessmen too, not only just ordinary people, ordinary devotees. They are also attracted, because he attracts everyone. If you visit the temple, you will also see a very strange custom. Also in the temple you will see the deity of Swami Haridas also. See, that's what you really see on the rightmost side is actually Swami Haridas. But anyway, so in this temple, you will see a very strange custom. What is that? Every minute or so, they have a curtain, curtain to really close the deity. Every minute or 1 or 2 minutes or so, they will close it, then wait for some time, and then they open it again. Then after some more, few more minutes, then they will close again. This will be always going on. Why? There is a history behind. Once there was a princess, that time, he really came from somewhere, who was a devotee of Krishna, came to visit Bange Bihari. So seeing the deity, she was so absorbed. She was mesmerized after seeing the beauty of Bange Bihari. She wished that the deity could be in her own palace, in his own room, so that he could serve and then, he could really worship. So with that, that heavy heart, refusing to really move out of this temple, but he went with a heavy heart. And then he reached the place. What happened there? He saw Bange Bihari sitting, the same Bange Bihari, same deity what you see. He was sitting in her room, waiting for service. He was wondering what is wrong. She was so happy, of course. And she was giving all the whatever that he was doing, wonderful seva that is going on. Then the next day, in the temple, they found that the deity was missing from the temple. It was a big scene. They thought that somebody stole the deities. Nowadays stealing deities are everywhere. Then they heard the news coming from the princess herself saying, the deity is now with me. And he is accepting my worship here in my place. Oh boy, it was a big thing. Everybody rushed there. He went there and saw the deity there sitting carefully. So after, they had to really beg the princess to really give the deity back. And the deity finally was, again taken back again and put back in the temple. That's the same Bang Bihari came back again. So, he's like a child. That's what they say. He's like a child. Whoever shows a lot of affection, he will jump straight away. That is what it is. He's having a childish nature. Okay. So, whoever lovingly wants him, he will run away with him, with the devotee. Okay. And I heard that it happened again also. That is when they were very serious in closing. Why they are closing like that? Because if anybody like that meditating on the deity, oh Banga Bihari, please come to me, he will run away. Because if you are giving so much of affection, he will come to you. So this is the danger that they are running even now. So the deity may be run away from the temple anytime. Okay? So they keep closing. Why? So that nobody can meditate continuously for more time. So you really already open for a while and then get the darshan, and after that they close. Okay, this is a custom that you can see even now when you visit. Okay, and also here the temple closes yearly before night. It is believed that Banga Bihari goes to Nidhuvan to be part of the Rasa dance. In fact, that is what is happening every night. This is what is happening. And he also, it said that he used to, his flute singing, some of the devotees, dear devotees used to hear that it used to go entire Vrindavan forest. They have mentioned it. Several Vrajavasis have mentioned that the flute music actually used to go all over Braj. Also for this Banga Bihari, no bells or no conch shell is sounded. Our normal ritual is to really sound all these things. But no, it's not really done there. Why? Because they don't want to wake that small child sleeping for more time. Just let him sleep for more time. Because he is resting after the Rasa Leela. Because since Krishna spends a great part of the night in the Nidhuvan forest, returning to the temple only in the early hours, the rituals do not even include the Mangalarati. Let him sleep. Only we do Mangalarati. But in that temple, no, because he is like a child there. So thereby, they allow the Lord to sleep for a longer time. And also because there is no Mangalarati, only 3 main rituals are done. Shringar. Shringar means they bathe and we decorate with so much of jewelries and everything. Beautiful they do. Then to Rajbhog, feast or the Naivedyam, best Naivedyam for the deity. Then the evening they do Shayanarati. So Shayana Seva, the sleeping, they actually do it early. Because the child, we all know, right? Child goes to sleep early. So they put him to sleep early, not in the late night. Early. Okay. So, because Swami Haridas, also remember why they are really worshipping him as like a child. Because Swami Haridas belongs to Rutra Sampradaya, where that, it's actually called Pushti Marga of Vallabhacharya. Vallabhacharya also came in the same line. There, they worship Lord as a child. Vatsalya Baba. Actually, Vatsalya Baba. Okay, so they worship Krishna as a baby. Anyway, now I want to say only there are so many stories behind. I mean, story means real stories. I will tell few of them. Right? About Banga Bihari. In the Banga Bihari temple, there used to be an old lady. Okay, seen many times. She was from Aligarh. That's what it was said. She had no personal belonging except a set of clothes. Very poor. Some utensils for cooking and lived in a hut with her, very, very small possessions. She would visit the Banga Bihari temple every day and sit in a corner singing and singing and singing about Krishna. She got an amazing story that she shared later. Because she was born poor and her father wanted to give her in marriage, but he could not really get any money. So his father mortgaged his home and then got some money, and so that he could conduct the marriage. Then he worked so hard to repay the loan. But unfortunately, that man, he did not keep record of the payments. He paid everything. When the payments were complete, that crooked man who gave the money for heavy interest refused to give the home back. He said that the money, no, that man never paid anything. The case went to the court. But this man did not have any witness to support his payments. He came to this temple and prayed Krishna to help. When the court case came, the judge asked for witness. Arey, you bring witness? And the man said, my only witness is Bange Bihari. I don't have any other witness. I didn't think that this will happen. Because I am a poor man. I don't know how to even keep all these things, all the payments intact as written somewhere. So he said, only Bange Bihari is my only witness. No one knew who was Bange Bihari there because he is from Aligarh. But this man knew Bange Bihari. Somehow he used to come and worship. Now they all told Bange Bihari. Who is that Bange Bihari? He is a witness. And they really even printed a notice about the hearing, everything. And then the man who gave the money was just laughing. Where is Bange Bihari? No, nobody is going to show up. The poor man came to court. And the judge called, where is Bange Bihari? But to everyone's surprise, a old man with a black blanket covered over him, who came. Oh Lord, I am Bange Bihari. I am here to really came as a witness for this case. And the judge was asking, okay, how do you know that the payment paper? He said, here are all the payment papers, all the things written. On this day, he gave this many rupees. This day, he gave this many rupees. This day, etc., etc., etc. So he gave everything. He showed all the payment records. The moneylender went to tell him, what is going on? Yes, somebody is telling the truth now. And they all found out that this moneylender was a cheater. And he was arrested and put in jail. And then, after this actually happened immediately, he wanted to really know more about this Bange Bihari man. Okay, the old man. But nobody could see him anymore. The case was done, but nobody could see anything. See Bange Bihari? He's nowhere there. Then he asked the poor man about the details as who is this Bange Bihari? When he heard the story, the judge was greatly touched. You know what he did? He immediately resigned his job. And he came to Bange Bihari temple. And he said, I am going to decide, stay here only. This is unbelievable. I have to give myself at the feet of Bange Bihari. And he was serving for his entire life. And he was called Judge Baba. If you see, because, it happened, it was not long ago. So people still remember there was a Judge Baba. That was this judge. There was also another incident that I would like to share. It is about a train ticket collector who worked on the shuttle service of the train between Brindavan and Madura. Even now, I think there is a shuttle train, right? Brindavan to Madura. It's a very, very short, shuttle back and forth. Each day, this ticket collector will arrive at the Brindavan station, and while the train is there, staying there, he will first go to the nearby Bange Bihari temple and get the vision, get the darshan, and then he gets back to work. He did not miss the schedule even for a single day, but one day. However, when he went to the temple, the image of Krishna was curtained, it was closed. And the altar was temporarily closed for some work. But he waited. He waited for the curtain to be opened so that he could have a darshan of Bange Bihari before leaving to his work. But while he was waiting, the train had already left. And he was supposed to be in the train. He was supposed to really collect all the details and documents, everything from the station master, and board the train, and then he was supposed to be in the train, and the train has already left. But when he came, he found out the train already left. And he realized, oh, this is very bad. I really failed to do my duty now. He got so upset to really fail his duty, and immediately wrote a resignation right there, and then gave to the station master. Oh, I did a very bad thing. This is really very bad. I have to resign. But the station master, however, stared at him in surprise, wondering how he was now here. Because he saw the same man and left in the train. Only a short while ago, he was supposed to collect all the documents from the station master, that is him, and he he boarded the train, he saw. How is he here? The station master asked, Arey, how are you here now? Just about 10 or 15 minutes ago, you yourself collected all the proper papers from me, and you also signed. Look at that, you signed, and then went to the train. I saw you. How did you come here now? And why is this resignation letter? I don't know what is going on. The ticket collector was stunned to see that he was indeed present on duty for taking the ticket. Then he realized that what would have happened. Then he realized his eyes filled with tears and his heart filled with deep emotion as seeing his divine miracle. Now he made up his mind. He said, oh sir, I know what happened. Now, yes, please take my resignation. Now it is me to serve him, because now Lord has really come just for me to serve me, and I have to serve him. Please take this resignation letter now. He submitted his resignation letter with a firm determination. The station master was just standing with open mouth, holding the resignation letter. And the ticket collector was just walking straight to the Banke Bihari temple. And entire of his life, he gave all the life to the service of this Banke Bihari. In fact, at this time I will also recollect what happened to our own Gurudev. Gurudev was a policeman. He was a police inspector. Because one day he really he was in the meditation, he was chanting and chanting, he really fainted. And on behalf of him, Krishna himself appeared there as a police inspector. And he even signed his name. And when our Gurudev realized that and then rushed back, and it was very late. It was supposed to be a meeting. He was supposed to be presenting something to the general, the police general, somebody who really came from Calcutta. He missed everything. He said, now I am going to resign, that's it. But he saw that somebody signed for his name, and also somebody has given his presentation already, and everybody is saying, oh, that was a very good presentation, oh, very good, congratulations. And our Gurudev was wondering, what is going on, what? Then he realized, no. And also he saw even look at it, there is a letter by the police general, he has actually promoted you. There's a letter, promotion letter, because you did so good presenting. And he immediately wrote resignation. And see, this is how in the lives Krishna plays the role of taking back their pure devotees. So actually, if you go to Banke Bihari temple, nearby you will see so many sweet shops selling all kinds of sweets. The devotees, whoever comes there, they buy so much of sweets from from these shops which are very nearby, and offer them to Krishna, Banke Bihari. So this Banke Bihari used to accept so much of laddus like a child. In the early 1900s, somewhere, there was a mithai wala. Mithai wala means what? Sweet seller, who had set up a shop selling sweets near Banke Bihari temple. One day he received a big order for making 40 kilos of laddus. Some major order. in a single day for a special occasion. So he was so busy, and when he sat in his shop, diligently working to finish his order, he heard a voice of a small young child beseeching him and giving him something. He was asking, oh Baba, I am hungry. Please give me some, give me laddu, I am hungry, So, he was looking. Then the shopwala, mithaiwala looked at, and where the voice is coming from. And he saw the young boy with a smile on his lips, a glow in his face, and outstretched hand asking for, oh Baba, give me a laddu. Knowing that he was, really, very busy in really making all the things, he stopped for a moment. And that beauty of the child really hypnotized. He forgot everything. And the voice, the way he asked the way, he would really believe. And he took some few laddus and then gave to the boy. Yes. Yeah, beta. Yeah, okay. To take them. And the boy was very happy. But the boy, he gave something back. He gave a golden bangle back to that shopper mithaiwala. Bangle. And this mithaiwala did not really care much about it. He thought, something, and then he really put it there. Then he realized, as the boy left already, he realized, this is a costly bangle now. And the next morning already there was a big problem there in the Bange Bihari temple. What was that? One of the bangle was missing. Someone said, one of the priests said that one of the bangle owned by Bange Bihari had gone missing. Somebody must have stolen it. It's nowhere to find. What happened? Then, when they were all going on, because shop is nearby, the shop owner actually heard this. Oh, there is something going on. Let me see what it is. And then he immediately ran to the temple, and he showed that a boy came and then gave the bangles in exchange to a few laddus. To everyone's astonishment, it was exactly the same bangle that had gone missing from the deity. The shop owner, immediately understood the significance of this kind, the kindness of Bange Bihari, and he prostrated, before the deity and thanked. And every time anyone comes to buy anything, buy sweets from him, he always says the story. This is what this is. That became very, very famous, actually. Okay? So these are the miracles, some of the miracles. And I want to really, I think probably I will tell one more miracle, which is probably is going to be there. Then I think we will conclude. There's only one Nidhuvan and Bange Bihari. That's all probably today, because 1 hour only. Bange Bihari and the leper woman. This is another real story of a wealthy businessman's wife who was abandoned by her own family. All her life, this lady spent looking after her husband, the children, and also the grandchildren, without even a moment for herself or things that she wanted to do for her. No, she sacrificed all her life, all her energy for her family. Her only focus was to take care of her family, and see every member of the family was well looked after. One day, she developed a small sore on her foot and hand, which refused to heal. So they saw a doctor, and on discovering that it was leprosy, an immediate change came over the attitude of her own family. From being the most loved person, she went to becoming the most avoided person. Everyone of her family distanced themselves from her and did everything they could and avoided even to see her. As soon as any of her family saw her, they would immediately sleep and move away. Even her loving husband began to spend more time away from her. Sensing that they did not like her to be around anymore, she confined herself in one of the back rooms in the home. She avoided all contacts with anyone, washing her own clothes, cooking her own meals in separate utensils that had been set aside by her children to use. Right? I mean, for her to use. So there are separate utensils, separate room. She is not, supposed to mingle with anyone. One day, even this came to an end. Her 3 sons came to her and told her that it would be wise if she went out of their home. They said they would give enough money to take care of herself. They said, as your disease is contagious, leprosy, we would not want to pass it on to your own children and also your own grandchildren. She wondered to herself, was it the same sons who showered her with so much of affection, who always insisted to eat their meals only after she took the first morsel? See, this was how the loving dealings were. When she was above feeding the children said, you take one morsel and you eat, then only we will eat. This was how the children and grandchildren used to. What happened to that now? And this, when her sons really told this, that was the last straw. Tears filled her eyes and all sorts of thoughts ran through her mind. She even considered killing herself and ending the misery. But somehow she had some courage. One dead of the night, without anyone seeing, she left the home quietly, without informing anyone, and without even a single rupee in her hand. Not knowing where to go, she approached a lady who used to live a little far away, and in the middle of the night she really knocked and she was asking, now you are a social worker, can you tell something at least where to go? This is what happened, because he was also in the charitable work. On hearing the story, that lady advised for her to go to Vrindavan and seek help in one of the ashrams there. So dejected, she arrived in Vrindavan and made friendship with one old lady outside one of the temples, who lived on alms by begging and donations from either whoever coming there, devotees, and also that temple used to give free prasadam once every day. At first, coming from the rich family, she hesitated to beg for food and clothes, but without any alternate. No alternative. She was forced to do so. Now it has become a way of survival for her now. Begging for alms in the daytime, and in the evening she would go to the Yamuna river, and there she really used to take bath and return to that temple which used to give prasadam in the evening. So she collects the prasadam, whatever that, and so that was how her life completely changed. And one day, when she really went to Yamuna, one of the Yamuna, gods of Yamuna, to take bath, she slipped on the steps and fell into the river. There was no one ready to touch and save her. She was desperately calling for help. No one was ready to help her, and she was drowning. She thought that now it's time to die. She was dying. But a moment later, she found herself safely on the shore. All she remembered was seeing a very attractive young boy with a strange glow on his face, who dived into the waters to save her before she lost consciousness. When she came out and asking, where is that boy? He was searching, where is that boy? Boy, son, beta, she was calling. And everybody was around there. They were started looking, what is this? What is going on? And he was asking, did you see a boy here? They said, no, there was no boy here. No one here. And now she looked at her own hand, her own feet. To her amazement, There was no sign of any wound on her foot or her hands. Everything is clear, and the leprosy was completely gone. Now she started weeping and weeping, and people were just around her were wondering what is going on. And she was really trying to tell, your boy came and then help me like that. Then someone said, you know what? You should thank to Krishna. There is a Bange Bihari temple. You should go there. And because, Krishna helped, you should thank him. Then she started to walk to the temple because he got the direction from them. Her heart beating faster and faster as she approached. This is the very first time she was coming to the temple. On reaching the temple and seeing the image, as soon as she saw the image, she fainted and fell right there on the floor. Then after some time she really got up. And you know why? Because the same face, the face of the deity, was exactly the same, the face of the boy who came. Bange Bihari. So when she came back to consciousness, understanding that she had been cured by Krishna's divine touch also, and he saved, a shiver of excitement ran through her, all the way going from her, her spine and nerves. She then suddenly felt that all her problems vanished. While her leprosy detached her from her worldly family ties, now she realized that her real relation and the one and only attachment was Bange Bihari, Krishna. From then on, she stayed there, helping others, all the other poor, because in Vrindavan, there are a lot of these kind of, the cases will be coming. She was helping, and she was worshipping the Lord with so total faith. She never had even a single thought about her once happy family. Completely forgot. Because in front of the Lord, these are all dust, nothing. That is only relation. She continued her devotion and attachment only to Krishna. When people visited Bange Bihari temple, they actually used to see the same lady who used to sit at one of the corner and making garlands and things, because no leprosy was perfectly all right. And none of her children or grandchildren bothered to even search for her, their own mother or grandmother, because the fear that they might get leprosy. Swami Haridas, in one of his famous padas, sang this: if you want to show love, then show it only to Bihari. For he is the only one who really loves us. Not your family, not your friends. They will desert you when you really need love most. Only his love is permanent. You are safe only with Bange Bihari. With this always in your mind. Always sing his glories. He is the real and your eternal love. No one else. This is part of the Vrindavan, part 1 that we did. So with this we will end. Thank you. Hare Krishna.